Let's talk about this. What is up, my friends? Welcome back to your average gents. It's your boy Evan, the Seiko SKX007, also known as the Seiko SKX007. This watch is my first automatic watch. Many people might be like, what? Is that a Seiko?
Did you get me a Seiko? What is this?
Seiko was founded in 1881, right? It's almost like 140 years ago, even older than a Rolex, bro. Come on, Robert. I have no issue admitting that I'm in love with the Seiko brand. I love its history, its heritage, its design, and its price. The Seiko watches are probably the best value for money watches out there in the market. For the quality, you just can't find anything cheaper. Okay, now let's talk about the SKX007, right? I like to call it 007. It makes it sound more cool. If the Rolex Submariner is the most iconic high-end dive watch, then the Seiko SKX007 is no doubt the most iconic entry-level dive watch. It is released in 1996, super reliable, super tough. I'll just go through the specs real quick, right? It retails for around 200 to 300 USD depending on where you get it. It comes with a generic box like this, really nothing special inside. It uses a 21 jewels automatic movement. Jewels are actually synthetic rubies put in watches to reduce the friction at the points of the heaviest wear. So the more jewels a watch have typically means that it is of a better quality. The watch is 42.5 mm in diameter, 13 mm thick, 22 mm lug width, lug to lug length of 46 mm, 200 meters water resistance. When you turn it to the back, you have a very nice Kanagawa wave design case back, which is a very nice homage to the Japanese arts and culture. It has a 120 click bezel, which is easy to grip and turn, unidirectional anti-clockwise, which means that you can't turn it in the clockwise direction, which is great. I'll get into why later. It has a black dial with a high contrast white color indicators for easy reading of time. By the way, there are two versions of the SKX007, the SKX007J and the SKX007K. Basically, the K version is assembled in Malaysia and the J version is assembled in Japan. The quality really don't have any noticeable difference, just that the J version has the 21 jewels and made in Japan printed on the dial. I just want my Seiko to say made in Japan on it. I just think that it is more cool. There's also the SKX009 and the SKX013 versions. The SKX009 is basically the same thing, just that it has a different bezel, the Pepsi bezel, which is in blue and red. The SKX013 is pretty much the same thing as well, just that it is a little bit smaller in 38 mm in diameter instead of the 42.5. The SKX007J version initially came with a very cheap rubber strap, which I can't really fault them because they are already so affordable. I rather they focus their quality on the watch itself. So I got an aftermarket bracelet, right? It is a stainless steel bracelet from Strapcode. Check it out. Overall, it feels really solid, right? It feels like if I'm getting robbed, I can just easily throw this to the robber and it's just gonna instantly knock him out. Alright, anyway, let's get on to the juicier parts of this video, and that is what are my likes and dislikes about this watch. I'm gonna start with the dislikes first. My very first dislike is the lack of hacking and manual wind. Hacking basically means that you can pull out the crown and the second hand will stop moving so that it is easier to synchronize time with another watch. Manual wind basically means that you can manually wind your watch without wearing the watch to keep the watch moving. Now, it is really not a huge deal breaker for me because I know that the movement inside is really old, but it is still good to have. Moving on to the second dislike, and that is the watch crystal. It is made of a Heartlex crystal, which is not a sapphire crystal. Heartlex crystal is Seiko's own crystal, but sapphire crystal is the strongest crystal in the world, so it is really a bummer that they didn't use the sapphire crystal. The Heartlex crystal is also very prone to fingerprints and dust, and it somehow smudges really easily. As you can see, it attracts fingerprints like a magnet, man, and sometimes it's quite annoying. The third dislike that I have with this watch is its misaligned chapter ring. It's probably one of the biggest complaints about the SKX007. For mine, I don't really notice it that much, but the alignment you probably can't tell in the video, but the alignment is definitely not perfect. Fortunately, I'm not that OCD about it, so I'm gonna give it a pass. Now, my fourth dislike for this watch is its power reserve. I guess this applies to all other automatic watches. For the SKX007, it is said to have at least 40 hours of power reserve when it's fully wound up. But you never know when it's fully wound up, up, right? My experience with this watch is that if I don't wear it for a full day, then it will just stop ticking, which can get really annoying, right? Especially if you don't wear your watch out every single day and you have to adjust the watch to the correct time every time you pick it up. Yep, that is about it actually. That is about all the things that I dislike about this watch. Surprisingly, not a lot actually. Now let's buckle up because now I'm gonna be talking about what I love about this watch, and man, there are a lot. The first thing I love, let's talk about the design. It's really unique. There's nothing quite like it. The Diver's 200M is in bright red and it just gives a contrast and give it a pop. I have some friends who mistook it as a Rolex and I'm just like, what? But then again, I always take it as a compliment because that means that the watch looks really high-end and really good quality. What is really unique about the SKX007 is that its crown position is at 4 o'clock, which allows the crown to not come into contact with the wearer's hand when it's on the wrist, so they won't dig into your wrist when you bend it. It also has a day-date complication, which is very useful. Unidirectional bezel, which is very functional, so that when you are diving, you don't accidentally knock the bezel and overestimate your time left underwater. So I really love the design. It is not flashy at all. Everything about the design serves a purpose, right? It is about getting the job done. And as I mentioned, the Kanagawa wave, love it. It's definitely a nice touch. It is really not trying to be any other dive watch. It's nothing like the Rolex Submariner, nothing like the Omega Seamaster. It is totally its own. Now, the second thing that I like about this watch is its night mode, its lume. The lume on this watch has no problem lasting the entire night if you charge it before going to sleep. It looks really bright in the dark and I love it. The third thing that I really appreciate about this watch is the fact that it is ISO certified. It's complied with the ISO 6425 standards, which means that it is a legit dive watch. You can actually bring this when you are diving. This is the real deal, man. On to the fourth thing that I really love about this watch is that it is super versatile. You can easily change up the look by introducing some NATO straps. If you want to dress it up, use a metal bracelet. If you want to just have fun and be casual, use a NATO strap. In terms of versatility, you really can't beat a good old dive watch. On to the fifth thing that I really love about this watch is that it is probably the most affordable and the most value for money real dive watch out there. You look at most fashion watches which cost around the same. Look at Daniel Wellington, which almost costs as much as this. Total abomination. CK watches is another one. Can you believe that my CK watch is more expensive than my 007, even with the metal bracelets? What was I thinking? Now, before I tell you if this watch is still relevant today in 2020 or will this still be relevant in the future, I want to give you the bad news first, right? This watch is unfortunately discontinued last year, about half a year ago in 2019. I know it is an absolute bummer, but don't worry, since this watch is super popular, there are still many stocks left in the market as of now. You still can get it on Amazon, though I don't know how much the price is gonna increase by the time you're watching this video. I'll definitely link this watch and the strap that I bought down in the description below if you wanna check it out. So my final thoughts. Man, I gotta say that this watch is a beast. If your wrist is really skinny, I would suggest you not getting this watch and consider the SKX013 instead. And if you would like to have some fun, you can get the SKX009 instead. It has a Pepsi bezel. I will link them all down in the description below. For the Seiko SKX series, it is simple, it is humble, and it will always be a classic. So my final verdict, it is still definitely very relevant now in 2020 and in the future in many more years to come. Although the watch movements may be outdated, although the watch may be discontinued, but its timeless design, the fact that it is ISO dive watch certified, its versatility and its iconic status, it is gonna continue to be part of any avid watch collector's collection, and I'm just glad that I got this before it disappears in the resale market. And that is it for this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate it, bro. Give me one of these for the YouTube algorithm. And if you are new to this channel, make sure to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because I will be dropping at least 2 new dope videos on anything related to men's style every single week. And you, my friend, don't want to miss it, man. Once again, my name is Evan. You're watching Your Average Gent, and I'll see each and every single one of you in my next video. Bam!